So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Bodyguards and Assassins. This is going to be another Chinese flick from 2009 starring Donnie Yen. Unfortunately, there isn't enough kung fu in this one. I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. The violins were overdone in this one. It starts out with some professor dude who's teaching a bunch of Chinese students about the ignorance of Western ways, namely democracy or democratic republic, whatever that means. I guess he's talking about something similar to what Taiwan has right now. Although Taiwan was initially a dictatorship before it got to that point. But then he goes on about Abraham Lincoln, who was a tyrant who's suspended habeas corpus, bribed politicians, and did all kinds of nasty things that people don't know about. And then he supports, I guess, later on, the new gang in Hong Kong. They support equal rights for individuals, similar to the Declaration of Independence, I guess. I actually found myself agreeing with the bad guy in this movie. That the fall of the Queen dynasty, or whatever it's called, the last emperor, would usher in a new era of chaos. That proved out to be quite true, with decades of civil war followed by Japanese occupation, followed by decades of communist enslavement. So I thought I was going to really hate this movie, but the kung fu is pretty good. Whatever kung fu they use, even though it's wire kung fu, just like all the Chinese movies that I've seen so far, the newer ones anyway. It seems like China has been making movies since what? Around this time, 2009. The next one I'm going to watch is Red Cliff, which is actually a Jun Hu flick from 2008. I heard Jun Hu was a lousy director. Some of his newer stuff, after the Chow Yun-fat part of his directing. So it'll be interesting to see if this one holds up. Red Cliff. This is the theatrical version, whatever that means. I guess went straight to video. I have no idea. Or there's a different vision. There's a different editing for the video. Beats me. So I'm done watching this piece of poop. I thought, like I said, I thought I was going to hate it because I hate politics. I hate democracy and equal rights and stuff like that. I just think anarchy is a better system of non-government. But it's only been tried a few times, and even then they had mostly, you could pick whatever government you wanted. It wasn't really anarchy. But there was some in Judean times, at least according to the Bible. But I won't go there since you're probably not interested. Or you probably think I'm some kind of crackpot. So Anyways, they band together in Hong Kong. This Dr. Sun, who also happens to be the director's grandpa, is the fictional leader of this group in Hong Kong. He spends about 5 minutes in the movie just telling him, okay, the uprising's going to be here, then we'll have another one here, and another one here, and there's going to be a lot of bloodshed along the way. Yeah, that's an understatement. And then when each guy dies in Hong Kong from the assassins, you hear the violins go off, and you see their name, their birth date, and their death date. Like that's supposed to mean something. I could care less about any of these characters, including Donnie Yen. He's got some kind of divorce from his strange wife, who was just pregnant. They just had a baby because he gambles too much. So he's like breaking into their house and sitting on the roof watching his daughter. He's got some kind of doll that he keeps in his hand the moment he dies. There's a young guy who is like the businessman who owns all of Hong Kong's son. He gets to play decoy for the Dr. Sun guy, who's completely fictional. This movie is not based on anything historical, by the way. So it's completely fictional. Like I said, it's based on the director's grandpa, whoever he was. I'm sure he wasn't the leader of the first Chinese Revolution there. But anyways, there's like a pop star singer gal who looks like she's about, I don't know, 16 in this movie. Supposedly she knows kung fu, and supposedly the beggar on the street knows kung fu. I guess he had the hots for his mom, and his parents ended up committing suicide or whatever. So he's kind of like a bum on the streets of Hong Kong. All of a sudden, he shaves off his beard and he's doing all this kung fu stuff. There's pretty cool blood squirt during that scene. Donnie Yen's kung fu is pretty good, although I dislike the wire kung fu stuff, which is kind of minimal in this movie. All of the kung fu is rather minimal for that matter. As usual, good-looking Chinese babes, but none of them get naked. So the business guy is running a printing press. I don't know how that makes him own all of Hong Kong, but that's how he's able to get his democracy, equal rights, Western mumbo jumbo to the general public. There, it's already pretty much a British colony. Even the police chief is being told what to do by the British. It was kind of interesting, though, that the British were hands off with the uprising in China. That part was sort of interesting, but for the most part, it was friggin' boring Chinese soap opera about pro-democracy people. It's amazing that both Taiwan and China call themselves republics, but how many million people did Mao murder? Like 100 million people or something over the course of a couple decades. So I had a tough time relating to the characters in this movie. Actually, I could relate more to the bad guy, who's trying to protect the emperor. Not that I'm for or against emperors per se, but I could sort of relate to his prescient prediction there. So most of the movies, just like I said, soap opera, violins, people dying, and then and you get to see their name and their birth date and their death date. Whoopee, like that does anything for me. Cinematography is pretty good. It was kind of interesting to see what Hong Kong looked like at the turn of the century. But for the most part, I'd say skip it. Skip everything except for the kung fu scenes and maybe the boats floating and on the bay there. There's a lot of rickshaws in this one, no cars. So Hong Kong kind of looks underdeveloped at this point. No skyscrapers yet, just a bunch of smaller buildings. So that part was kind of interesting, but for the most part, I disliked or even hated this movie. It had its moments, but like when the police chief guy, who's a Chinese guy from Burma, he kind of says, "Okay, here's our stopping point. You're on your own. We're no longer your escort." That was kind of interesting. But, I don't know. The interesting moments in this movie are few and far between. I couldn't really relate to any of the characters. Seemed like they just wanted to sacrifice themselves for a cause that they didn't really care about, or people that they never really saw much. All of a sudden, the business guy wants to become buddies with everybody on the street, so that he can get them killed, I guess. What a nice guy, huh? Well, I guess they're supposed to be heroes for sacrificing their lives. I think the business guy sacrificed their lives by duping them into protecting this guy, Dr. Sun. He wasn't anything like he was portrayed in the movie historically. So, yeah, overall, pretty bad movie. 2 out of 5 stars. Skip it except for the kung fu scenes later.